Hey, you. So, can we stop this?
Minority, and it is 100% a minority, that there are few racist people out there.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Huh.
That doesn't mean it's every single Star Wars fan, doesn't mean it's all of his fans, doesn't mean it's people who just didn't like the film because it was a shitty film.
Please, actually, can we just stop doing this?
You thought you'd heard the last of Star Wars fans being blamed for Disney's mistakes. John Boyega has just added his voice to the mix.
It's a circular argument. It's so they can be perpetually a fucking victim.
I really don't know why stuff like this is even still done, and I definitely don't know why these people do it or how they can sleep at night doing it. Look, I have some strong feelings about all of this and the people at the center of it, but before I go into all that, I should make a few things clear first, because this is the internet after all, and meeting people in the marketplace of ideas has to be done with facts and logic and no emotion, or else, I don't know, I'm wrong, I guess. So here are the facts. John Boyega, quite recently, former Star Wars actor, was interviewed for First on the Call Sheet, a documentary film exploring the experiences of many prominent black actors in Hollywood. In this film, he speaks about his experience being a part of Star Wars, specifically about much of the backlash he got from certain corners of the fan base, that backlash coming in the form of toxic and racist comments about him and his character, Finn. This, of course, got some of those same corners of the fan base upset when he brought it up. Many of them denounced his words, saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and that there are other black characters in Star Wars that people liked and had no issue with, so what's the problem? Is there even a problem? That it's Disney's fault for making his character so awful. So awful that apparently they needed to attack the actor directly because that's just what you do, I guess, when people... Nope. Facts only. Can't get upset about this. Can't show emotion. Actually, no, fuck that, because this really pisses me the fuck off, and these people are absolute morons. As I said, in the wake of this, many of the usual suspects came to YouTube and all over social media to do what they always do when any person of color or woman speaks out about experience they had with the Star Wars fandom. They heard them out and empathized with them and knew how hard it must have been for them to go through something so terrible. I'm kidding. Of course, obviously, they shit on them more.
On Boyega attacking the fans, saying Star Wars is so white that a black person existing in it is a big deal. Toxic fans are okay with us playing the friend, but we can't touch their heroes. You're literally calling out Lucasfilm, and you're too stupid to even realize it.
He's just another fucking adult pretender. Stupid idiot.
That's what he is.
Another stupid fucking
He was
idiot.
saying stupid shit during the BLM stuff, and he's saying stupid shit now. And
This kind of constant comments is just brainwashing people to not have an opinion and not speak out and not have freedom of speech when it comes to just talking about the movie.
I find it so depressing and so frustrating when we continuously see stars come out and attack the fans as opposed to attacking the people that deserve the attacking.
Which, of course, none of them see the irony in, being the people reacting immediately to hearing someone talk about racism in a fandom. What? Racism? What's that all about? That's crazy. I never in my life conceived. Gee, I wonder why you would suddenly take offense to that. Again, morons. Boyega also mentioned a common rebuttal to many of the claims of toxicity or racism that fans like to throw out there, where they would bring up characters like Lando and Mace Windu, as I said before.
You can always tell it's something when some Star Wars fans try to say, well, we had Lando Calrissian and had Samuel L. Jackson. It's like telling me how many cookie chips are on the cookie dough. I'm like, bro, they just scattered that in there, bro.
To which the grifters responded with, well, nothing. They didn't really have an actual response to that outside of just doing the thing that he said they would do.
Forget that we're pointing out that there was black characters and one of them actually blew up a fucking Death Star and had a heroic moment.
People adore
So we could
Mace
still
Windu.
yeah.
Considered like the coolest Jedi.
Let me tell you, Star Wars always had the vibe of being in the most whitest elite space. Has this man never seen Mace Windu?
Saying the thing that, no one had a problem with those characters, so that means race was never an issue for Star Wars back then, except they would be wrong about that. While that might be true for people like Sam Jackson that we know of, it wasn't for Billy D. Williams, who, when thinking back on his time in Star Wars for his memoir, What Have We Here, he talks about how much of the hate his character got for being the person who betrayed Han Solo had a little bit of racialized undertones. It was laughable until it wasn't, until I sensed a black-white thing might be brewing. That's when I took a step back, put up my hands, and told people to wait a minute before they criticized me any further. So these people are so adamant that racism doesn't exist at all, they're willing to ignore the words of the very person they repeatedly use as an exception to racism, who himself thought there was racism. I mean, it's almost like Star Wars always had a problem with racism, but that can't be the case, obviously. Of course not. Like, that's just fucking... Yes, Lando and Mace are two black characters in Star Wars that a lot of people liked. They're iconic characters. Everyone enjoys them. But that's only two. Per John Boyega's accurate statement, in a sea of characters, many of whom, yes, are aliens of an indeterminate race, but a lot more of the human characters are mainly white, pointing out that two black characters stand out to you, the same two, and literally the only two, does nothing to really prove him wrong. I swear, these people have like zero brain cells to rub together, because aside from having the same exhaustive talking points they run through over and over and over and over, they also can't understand the simple concept of nuance. Because, surprise, I agree that the way Finn's character was handled in the sequel trilogy was disappointing. Unlike Lando and Mace, Finn didn't end up being a beloved and iconic character in Star Wars because they really dropped the ball with him and his development through the course of those movies. But that doesn't mean John Boyega didn't experience severe toxicity and racism from the Star Wars fandom. He's not the only one who experienced it, and the fucking ghouls, these soulless ghouls, they're here any of these other people, other actors in Star Wars who've experienced similar treatment, many of whom show literal proof of what they've experienced, and they just go, yeah, but your characters suck, as a response. Which is a fucking stupid ass response, because what does that even mean? What does that have to do with what is being discussed? It's another deflection, one of many that these grifters use and their parrots repeat, that ignores what's actually happening and what these people have experienced. And it's fucking stupid. It's the same thing that was done for Moses Ingram during Obi-Wan, and Amanda Stenberg for The Acolyte, and Kelly Marie Tran during The Last Jedi, and Daisy Ridley through the entire sequel trilogy. The idea of, but their characters though, is a stupid response to this, because many of these actors experienced all this hatred, bigotry, and toxicity way before their characters even got a chance to appear on screen, and for audiences to see their story. Moses Ingram got death threats and racialized comments based on just seeing her in the trailer for Obi-Wan. The Acolyte received so many hate comments and racialized comments from just its trailer as well. People complaining about the lack of white people in the trailer.
Hey,
okay,
who was front and center? Girl. Boys at the back.
Oh, that's probably a gay boy right there. Isn't that girl, like, wasn't she X-23?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Easter eggs in this are find the white person.
How many of the characters were people of color or DEI? That's their favorite fucking phrase in the entire world. There was a targeted campaign to review bomb the show because of all that before it came out. It got so bad that people actually ended up posting reviews about the show to a completely unrelated IMDb page for a film with the same name. That's how much of a problem this is. And despite the rewriting of history by the same usual suspects, John Boyega was very much in the same boat. He was marked the second we saw him take off his helmet and saw a stormtrooper in a Star Wars movie was black. You can still, to this day, go to the teaser for Force Awakens, scroll throughout the comments, and see people asking why so many others are being weird and racist about it.
Every motherfucker that I've talked to, everybody in the chat, everybody defended this guy and found him to be, during the trailers, the most interesting and captivating character.
Oh my God, no way. Oh, you remember people loving Finn and being excited about conversations and intrigue surrounding the trooper business? Fucking crybaby pronouns guy.
I distinctly remember there was a lot of conversation about the intrigue around the whole trooper business.
Hi, editing me here. Just popping in real quick to say something in the interest of fairness. Crybaby Pronouns Guy here was not talking about what I talk about a little after this, clone troopers versus stormtroopers, and why it's impossible for John Boyega to be a stormtrooper because stormtroopers are Jango Fett. That's a point I make a little later. What he's talking about here is specifically that moment between him, Finn, and the guy who yells traitor at Maz Kanata's castle during that attack scene. But the point still stands. A lot of it is this rewriting of history to where everyone was all supportive of John Boyega.
In fact, there are more people that have been supportive of John Boyega's character and the potential that he could have had in Star Wars versus White Daisy Ridley.
I wasn't on YouTube doing reviews, so I don't know what kind of discourse was on the internet as of that time. But to be completely honest, when it came to Finn, everything I've ever seen was how dirty he got done by Disney. Nothing directly about the character's inclusion or about his race.
You sure about that?
And everyone was excited about what his character's story would be, when the truth of the matter is they were not as much as these people like to think, and conversations surrounding him were not good. I say this immediately after this, so I just wanted to make that clear before someone in the comments goes oh, but he didn't say. So yeah. Why do you think those conversations were happening in the first place? They were happening because people needed to explain the difference between a clone trooper and a stormtrooper to people who thought Finn shouldn't exist or can't canonically because stormtroopers were clones of Jango Fett. At the end of the day, even if we suppose that Finn or Reva or Rey or any of these other characters were truly badly written, which is subjective by the way, the reaction to said badly written characters is not to send death threats or make fun of the actors who play them. In what universe is that a sane and normal reaction to do? And why do so many of these people co-sign it? I genuinely believe these people have a hole inside them, you know what I mean? Just like an empty shell where something like a soul is supposed to be. Because it is truly a soulless person that would turn people's pain into engagement bait to pander to their audience, many of whom are one of the millions who do things like start campaigns to boycott a movie because a person who wasn't white or a man dared to commit the unforgivable sin of being a lead in a series of mainly white people.
So the Easter eggs in this are find the white person.
Oh, it's not about race. You're making it about race. No, you dumbass clowns. The racists made it about race. The same people who unprompted, when talking about what John Boyega was saying, decided to mention a BLM rally he was a part of years ago, who then said that he was saying stupid shit.
He was saying stupid shit during the BLM stuff, and he's saying stupid shit now.
The stupid shit in question is how Black Lives Matter. Gee, I wonder why someone like Nerdrotic would think that's stupid. The same people who can't call Sam Wilson Captain America.
For the purposes of this review, I'm going to refer to him as Captain Black Ant Falcon Man from now on. Partly because there's only ever going to be one Captain America for me, and that's Steve Rogers.
But have to, in literally every video, call him Captain African American.
The cinematic and technical magnificence of Captain African American.
But hey, guys, people like Nerdrotic don't see race. Race doesn't matter to him, except it does to him all the time, and he mentions it all the time because it's all his content revolves around. Hey, remember when he was in a stream with all of his loser friends and he did a racist Chinese accent for a Korean actor?
My feelings were hurt. I could only have faith that the racism will end someday.
But it's not just them. Snarky J is a part of this crew too, and like them, would swear that they're not racist or bigoted in any way, shape, or form.
I have no qualms with anybody in Star Wars being of a different background than I, or being of a different sexuality or gender identity, and I genuinely could not care less about the sexual habits of anybody who writes or produces Star Wars.
But she'll make huge stink about a joke Leslie Headland made about C-3PO and R2-D2 being gay.
I'm not part of the generation that screams and covers their eyes when two men hold hands in a Dove body wash commercial. She brought up the clear gayness of robot assistant C-3PO and brought up the fact that she feels it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian. C-3PO, a robot assistant with no genitalia and no romantic connections. And R2-D2, a genderless screaming trash can who also lacks visible genitalia. They are both clearly members of the LGBTQ community because Leslie Headland says so.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
It's dumb. Oh my god, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. And they are all so dumb. Also, this, I know, ad hominem, we can't do that. But do these people know how to read? Can they read? Do they understand words? I'm asking seriously because I don't even know. Because the headline for the article that many of these people are using for their slop content talks about toxic fans and how they made John Boyega feel a certain way. Not Star Wars fans in general. But for some reason, whenever that adjective that describes what kind of Star Wars fan these actors, because it's not just John Boyega, Daisy Ridley did this too, Kelly Marie Tran did this too, Amanda L. Stenberg did this too, they reacted the same way, they just don't see it. They don't see that word.
So frustrating when we continuously see stars come out and attack the fans.
John Boyega was a cool guy, but I see now he's just a dickhead like the rest. They're just brandishing everyone with the same brush that, oh, you know what? If I got a couple racist comments, then you're all racist.
Or they see it and they don't understand it. They just don't know what an adjective is. So they generalize everything. But ultimately, that's the gambit, right? That's their game, their big play. They generalize and downplay the statements of anyone in Star Wars who talks about a toxic racism or sexism problem that exists in the fandom, conflate toxic, sexist, or racist fans with regular fans who have never shown themselves to be any of those things, in order to craft a new narrative that these actors are saying all Star Wars fans are toxic, sexist, and racist, in an attempt to discredit those actors, get them to shut up, and also farm engagement for their own social media platforms. Much of that engagement coming from the very same kinds of people who John Boyega and so many others talk about, and that people like Nerdrotic, Snarky J, and others pretend don't exist, because to do so would be to alienate their audiences and their main source of income. Also, ask these same people to show proof that any of the actors they complain about actually said that all Star Wars fans are toxic or all Star Wars fans are racist and hateful. You'll get silence because they don't have any proof. They'll never have any proof. It's funny how that works, huh? You'd think that in an entire niche of content creators whose sole job is to, sit there and read headlines, read articles, and title their thumbnails, "They hate us! They said they hate us!" You'd think more of them would have proof. In an ideal world, we would have more than just their own words to prove what they claim is being said by the actors, but we don't. Which is weird, right? It's almost like, no, it couldn't be, right? It can't. It would be insane to even suggest it. The mere thought alone proposes a panicked and perplexing problem poised to poison the mind. They can't be lying, could they? Now, I know that these people are certified grifters who more than likely don't care nearly as much about what they chirp about on the regular, and I shouldn't care what they say and ignore them, but I can't. Their incessant chattering poisons the well of fandom, and I actually care about all this. I care what they say because it causes these spaces to become cesspools of hatred and bigotry where toxicity can run rampant because it's practically, again, incentivized by these people. Every time something like this comes out, every time they make a video, they justify it. They make it okay. And that's horrible. They, who were given platforms they could be using to actually bring people together on the basis of their love for Marvel or Disney or Star Wars or DC or whatever, but instead decide to yap about dumbass culture war fucking nonsense like the moronic reactionaries they actually are. They aren't fans. They don't care about these fandoms, not in any way that counts. They only care so long as they can use their supposed love and admiration for a thing to justify that constant deluge of shit slinging that comes out of their fucking mouths. You don't know them, man. You don't know what they're actually like. You're right. I don't know any of these people personally. I don't know what they're like in real life, but I don't have to, because any person who comes on social media and actively chooses to put on the persona of a terrible person solely to pander to their audience of hateful knobs who cry woke at the mere sight of a person from a marginalized group doing anything other than staying in their place and out of the limelight of a more traditional hero is not someone anyone should believe is an inherently good person. So fuck this entire culture of conservative ass reactionaries. Just stop. We're all tired of your shit. It's old. It's boring. It's predictable, and we can see right through it to who you really are. Just a bunch of talentless hacks who stumbled into a niche they saw they can make a ton of money in by speaking nonsense to an audience of people silly enough to believe any of it at the expense of real people and what they go through. They're bullies, and I think they should go away.